context of the P2P value project, we have been working on a deliverable which is related to public commons partnerships. And today I will present you two cases that we have been investigated, namely the Greek and the Ecuadorian case. It should be highlighted that this is a working deliverable. And it is expected that the deliverable will be finalized by the end of the month, and it will be available on the P2P Values website. I will need this one. Okay, so why Greece and Ecuador? The Greek case was selected because there has been an effort to promote a commons-oriented agenda by the newly elected government of Syriza. And moreover, the financial and the social crises have activated a high level of social experimentation, such as the emergence of different types of social cooperatives and the demand for open access to data. Regarding the case study of Ecuador, it was selected due to the global originality of the Free Libre Open Knowledge Society project, which took place in 2013 and 2014. That was a project that was funded by the Ecuadorian government, and the aim was to change the productive matrix towards a social economy of knowledge. There are people over here that know much better than me about this project. So, in order to document the public policies related to the commons and analyze their level of success, we first studied material that were relevant to our cases, like interviews and declarations prior to the elections in the case of Syriza. We then examined how the policy proposals were formed and what exactly were their main goals. Subsequently, we interviewed 25 different key players, including Michel Bowens and John Aristakis, who are here with us today. And there are other people like MPs and governmental officials, representatives from institutes and initiatives, and finally some national and international experts on the field. Then we cross-examined the data that were collected and formed the narrative for each case. So let's see some of the reviewed policies per case, along with their level of implementation, starting with Greece. The first policy was related to the improvement of legislation for a social solidarity economy. The main objectives were to simplify bureaucratic procedures and reform the tax system to support the social solidarity economy. A number of important changes were made. For example, the time needed for the approval of a new cooperative was decreased from 8 months to 1. And the social solidarity initiatives were included as beneficiaries at the relevant state funding tool. The second policy was related to the opening of public data. Although there is a very good institutional framework related to the open data today, it is often limited by the lack of regulatory acts, secondary legislation, and the will for implementation. The third policy relates to the lack of mechanisms that would encourage citizen engagement in the open decision-making processes. Despite the presence of several digital platforms, citizen participation in the public deliberation is very low, since there are no tools to measure the extent to which their comments are taken into account. Moreover, education appears to be a sector where positive narratives exceed the negative ones. There are recorded efforts to advance awareness on the open source philosophy in both a governmental, institutional, and grassroots level, but they are not particularly interconnected. In addition, while public policies on open data in Greece are gradually improving, this was not the case for the open source and open hardware cases. Relevant legislations are prepared, but there is a lack of the necessary technical support at the moment. And last, the creation of an independent institute was proposed, which would provide education and a forum for social solidarity initiatives and also conduct research. However, this is not currently included in the governmental priorities due mainly to financial issues. Moving to the case of Ecuador, this table presents the key public policies that were reviewed in that case. The first one was related to the creation of a network between cooperatives. Currently, a technological cooperative is being created to interconnect the whole solidarity economy and the cooperative funding system. Regarding open data, although many projects are active, the current result is considered to be poor, mainly due to the low understanding of the importance of the process. Another difficulty that was reported is that government did not feel very comfortable with open participation, especially when such processes could directly affect the final decisions. In addition, various training actions on several sectors were realized to educate people and trigger the interest of institutions for the implementation of the proposals. Also, a macro factory for open farming machines was initiated in the city with the support of the mayor. The project started in a dynamic way, but soon went down due to the lack of financial support. And last, an institution was created to facilitate the migration towards free software. It is estimated that the project will be fully implemented in all ministries of the Sectoral Council of Knowledge and Human Talent by the end of 2016. So some general problems that were identified in these two cases. The first one is the ignorance of the open source issues or the underestimation of their importance. Also, many interviewees focused on the fact that there is no appropriate methodology to implement such policies, and this can also be explained by the fact that the main problems appeared in the implementation phases. Also, there are no appropriate licenses, like the case with open hardware. They're not available right now. And there are no trained staff or institutions to provide such training. Last, there has been an observation related to the fragmented co-op movement, especially in Greece. And some general proposals. We are currently working on this part of the deliverable, so it will be updated soon. One proposal would be to promote education and build awareness on social solidarity economy and the commons, especially to political parties officials. Second, we should develop pilot projects in order to test our policies, and ideally on a smaller scale and not that of a nation or state. Also, we should utilize existing resources rather than building things from scratch. And we should align projects with existing funding programs of the European Union. And we should also create incubators and financing mechanisms for commons-based peer production. And I will close with a general remark that might be of interest. So a lot of interviewees have mentioned that traditional left is usually aiming to empowering the state. So commons might be perceived as reduction of the state's role. So they are usually treated with skepticism or even as a competitor. So presenting the commons as a public good might reduce the resistance of those holding a cautious attitude, also demonstrate the usefulness of commons in the social field, and open channels for dialogue.